Guys, this is Nate from RunDreamAchieve.com. Hope you guys are having a great week of training. Today's topic is how to run a marathon under 3 hours. And this is one of the most competitive barriers and times that a lot of marathoners around the world that are really focused on getting under. Anybody that's trying to run a 2:59 or faster marathon is highly competitive. Somebody that's extremely driven, focused, motivated, willing to do whatever it takes, because athletes that are going for these types of times are putting in a great deal of hard work and attention to detail in order to run a time like this. The pace that you need to hold is 6 minutes and 52 seconds per mile for 26.2 miles straight, or 4 minutes and 16 seconds per kilometer for 42.2 kilometers. So, you know, in our sport, it's very competitive to really, when you're running even under 4 hours, you got to be in great shape. But a lot of times, I think the noise of our sport gets the best of a lot of athletes. They look at the very top of the line athletes, the athletes that are running world records like 2:01 for the marathon for men and 2:14 for females, and they think a sub 3 hour marathon is not as competitive. I mean, it's a major jump to go from under 3 hours to run a time obviously that fast, but so few athletes run under 3 hours per year. So this particular video, I want to cover a few key strategies, things that you should be keeping in mind in terms of the types of workouts you really need to be doing. You know, I even have a course on RunDreamAchieve.com called the Sub 3 Hour Marathon Pro, where we focus on a lot of what I'll be discussing in this video in terms of workouts. I also have a sub 3 hour marathon training program that's just a training program on RunDreamAchieve.com. So if you're looking for a much more in-depth course with video tutorials along with a 16-week training program at the very end of the course, definitely check out the Sub 3 Hour Marathon Pro course. If you're looking just specifically for a training program for the next 4 months to get you under that 3 hour barrier, focus on getting the training program. So the first time I ran the marathon, it was 2 hours and 43 minutes and 36 seconds at the 2002 New York City Marathon. So I understand how competitive and how tough it is to run under the 3 hour barrier. But some of the workouts that I would really focus on and the things that I was doing to eventually run 2:19 for the marathon was mile repeats, 2 mile repeats. I would work on doing one VO2 max workout per week. And some of the examples of VO2 max workouts that I was focusing on was really just overall leg speed. I would work on doing repeat 800s, where I would start off my season doing, say, like 4 800 meters. In your case, if you're trying to run under 3 hours, I would recommend starting off doing 4 800 meters between 2 minutes and 57 seconds to 2 minutes and 58 seconds per rep. So you're running, again, under 6 minute mile pace, which is much, much faster than you're trying to hold for the marathon distance. Again, it's a combination for athletes trying to break 3 hours. It's a combination of a lot of things you got to do well. You have to train below 6 minute mile pace. You have to train at paces that are around 15 to 20 seconds per mile slower than goal race pace. So, you know, around 7:12 mile pace, or if you're looking at kilometers, you know, that'd be around 4:25 per kilometer. And you want to get that long run out not only longer, but also at a faster pace. So some of the things that I did to go from 2:43.36 down to 2:19.35, which I think can really help you out as well, is alternating the weekend long runs. Do not just run long, slow, and easy every single weekend. It's going to make you very strong endurance-wise. You'll burn fat, but you need to teach your body to burn fat at race pace to break a 3 hour marathon. So it's very important that you start varying up the paces of your long runs. When I was training, I would do up to around 22 to 23 miles in length. I got out to as far as 30 miles, which I don't recommend. I was just kind of testing what I needed to do to possibly break the 2:19.35 that I run. But I think you can get great results running anywhere from 18 miles or around 30 kilometers out to around 32 kilometers or 20 miles. I think there's a diminishing return the further you go out for your long run. But the key thing is to always keep in mind, don't focus on quantity so much, focus on the quality. You could be running 100 miles a week, and another athlete could be running 40 to 50 miles and get better results. So it's about not only thinking about, obviously putting in the hard work, but thinking about leverage. In terms of the workouts, I was big on, like I said, big on mile repeats, big on 2-mile repeats, and that's how I kind of set up the same types of workouts that you'll be doing in the sub 3 hour marathon pro course, as well as using the 3-hour marathon training program. The same types of workouts you're going to be doing are the same exact workouts I was doing to eventually run 2:19. Obviously the paces are slightly different. You're going for 2:59. I was kind of going for more toward 2:22 or faster. But the same principles apply for athletes trying to run under 3 hours or athletes trying to run under 2 hours and 30 minutes or 2 hours and 20 minutes. You got to think about periodization. There's a process that's involved in regards to running great times for the marathon. You can't just jump into training, which I know all of you know this, but at the same time, you got to think about the periodization of attacking one specific intensity for a specific amount of time, and then once your body has adapted to that stress load, then you go to the higher level. So I would recommend doing for a 4-month block of training, starting off doing 5 to 6 1-mile repetitions on the track, around 556 to 557 per rep with a 3-minute rest, then going down to and doing that for 3 weeks, and then doing 3 to 4 weeks, and then moving from 556 to 557 to 543 to 544 per rep, and doing that for 3 to 4 weeks for 3 minutes recovery. And then as you're getting fitter, your paces are going to increase, but you also want to focus on being able to lower your rest period in between those repetitions. So again, you're stressing the body anaerobically you have to stress the body anaerobically to run under the 3-hour marathon. It's a highly competitive time. Only a few marathoners around the world run that fast each year. So after those first 8 weeks of training, then we start moving it into faster repetitions and even less rest. So the last 2 weeks, or the last 2 4-week segments, I would focus on going down toward 538 to 539 per mile per rep, and having 2 minutes rest, and then focusing on that for 3 to 4 weeks, preferably about 3 weeks, and then we go into the latter stages of the training program where we start moving into the taper, but we would lower the mile speeds down between 533 to 534 per mile repetition, again with 2 minutes rest. So very fast times. You're running much faster than your goal race pace. That's going to make your goal race pace of 6:52 per mile or 4:16 per kilometer, again, feel more sustainable. It's not going to intimidate you anymore because you've trained at paces that are so much faster than your goal race pace. I always stress that in all the videos, regardless if I'm talking about trying to go under a 3-hour marathon or you're trying to break a 5-minute mile, or 32 minutes or 35 minutes for the 10K. You always want to focus on a combination of not only training at very high levels of lactic acid buildup. Again, you can't spend, as you all know, you can only spend a few seconds to a few minutes training at those types of intensities, but it's going to make your anaerobic threshold more efficient. You'll be able to run at that particular effort more efficiently because you've trained at VO2 max level. Your VO2 max, which is basically your maximum oxygen capacity, carrying capacity. Again, it's when you're training at speeds that are so fast on the track or on the roads where you simply cannot clear lactic acid faster than it's building up, then your muscles start to shut down. And it's really the hydrogen ion component of lactic acid, which is the reason why our muscle functioning starts to shut down when we're training at such high anaerobic efforts. But that is really key. And that's really what I did also to eventually run well under 3 hours, was because I was stressing that particular system of my body, but I was also doing longer long runs and faster pace long runs. I would always alternate a faster pace long run followed by the next week by a relaxed easy jog. I mean, I could have cared less if I was running 10-minute to 11-minute mile pace or 15 minutes per kilometer pace on those easy runs. What mattered was recovery, and that's why if you're wanting to run under 3 hours, you always need to focus on, more so even on the recovery period rather than just the hard efforts. We all know how to work hard on the track. We all know how to do those hard repetitions, doing or getting out on the roads and doing hill repetitions. If you want to run under 3 hours, you need to do those explosive types of activities where you're really focusing on form, you're pumping your arms, you're lifting your knees, and you're, again, building very high amounts of lactic acid buildup. Hill repetitions is a great way to do that. Over the years, I would focus on that. Every other week, I would put in a hill repetition workout in my training schedule. I'd find a 200 to 300 meter hill and do anywhere from 10 to 20 repetitions, going almost all out on the way up and just jogging on the way down. Or if I wasn't very fit, I would do a moderate effort up and walk down until I got to a point where I could sprint just about all out on the way up and jog on the way down. So again, it's about periodization. It's about thinking long term, knowing that to break a 3-hour marathon may take you more than one iteration of a 4-month block of training. All of my training programs and running courses on RunDreamAchieve.com are all 4 months in length, because I think 4 months is really a sufficient amount of time for you to prepare for any race, whether it's the mile, the 5K, 10K, half marathon, or the marathon. But I think if you're going after a sub 3-hour marathon, you better have your head on straight in regards to pace sustainment, because it does you no good to say to your friends or family that I was on pace for 16 kilometers of the race, but I fell apart in the last 16K or the last portion of the race. Even if you can hold 20 miles or 32 kilometers at goal race pace, at 6:52 mile pace or 4:16 per kilometer, what counts is that last 10 kilometers. So you have to be able to sustain pace, and that's why, to make that race pace feel easier, you've got to get accustomed to training well below goal race pace. Like those mile repeats starting at 5:57, I mean, starting off at under 6-minute mile pace is highly aggressive running. Again, you want to give yourself more rest early on because you're not as anaerobically fit. And then as you get fitter, you want to increase the intensity and lower the recovery between your repetitions. Again, it's painful all around. It's painful when you start. It's painful even when you get fit, because as you get fitter and you're more anaerobically fit, you're not allowing, if you really want to do this well, you do not want to give yourself too much rest between each one of those repetitions. If you're wearing a heart rate monitor, you want to start once your heart rate gets back down to around 120 beats per minute. Heart rate monitor training is absolutely essential, I think, in terms of athletes trying to break 3 hours. I have a lot of videos on heart rate monitor training here on the channel, as well as some resources below each one of my videos. So definitely check those videos out in regards to heart rate monitor training. I think that'll really play a big part and help you out in getting under the 3-hour barrier for the marathon. If you're somebody that's 3:59:59, or you're closer down to the 3-hour barrier, this video is for you. And even for those athletes that are running 4s and 5s, you got a big jump to make to get under 3 hours, but it's not impossible. It may take you 5 years, it may take you a decade to do it. But if you're currently 4:50 or 4:35 or 5:02 for the marathon right now, and you dream of one day breaking 3 hours, if you're further away from the time, expect that. It's not an easy time. It's a highly competitive time, so don't expect overnight results. But if your drive is high enough and your motivation level is high enough, you can do it. It's just, it may take you, like I said, if you're further away from the distance, from the time, it may take you a decade to get to that point where you can break 3 hours. To go from a 5, say your personal best is 5 hours and 2 minutes, down to 2 minutes and 59 seconds, you're talking some serious drop, a serious drop in time. So just keep in mind your long-term goals. Visualize success. Visualize yourself getting across that finish line in 2:59:59 on the clock. Hear people screaming and hear people saying, calling out your time, 2:59:12, 2:59:13. See that in your mind first. Your subconscious mind is extremely powerful. It's one of the biggest components of my own preparation that helped me get under 2 hours and 20 minutes for the marathon. I was always visualizing success. I was studying what the best athletes were doing. I was focused on a long-term vision. I knew that what I was trying to do wasn't going to happen in a matter of weeks or a matter of months. But it didn't happen that way. It took me from 1992 all the way to 2007 to break 2:20 for the marathon. And I didn't break 3 hours for the marathon until 2002. So I hope this video was insightful in some way for you. I hope you get an idea of some of the types of workouts you need to be doing. In terms of tempo runs, you need to start off doing around 3 to 4 miles at around 7:04 per mile pace, or around 4:18 to 4:19 per kilometer, and then get that tempo run out to around 12 miles. The further you can spend at your anaerobic threshold, the better, because you're going to be racing at right around your anaerobic threshold effort. So you want to get very efficient at training at lactate threshold and running at a higher percentage of your maximum heart rate for longer periods of time. Get your body accustomed to higher levels of lactic acid for long periods of time, not just short periods. You can spend a lot more time running at your anaerobic threshold than you can training at your VO2 max. If you're running on the roads or you're doing repeat 800s or 200s or 400s on the track, you're only going to be able to spend a few seconds to a couple minutes to 3 minutes at those particular efforts. But anaerobic threshold, you can spend a lot of time at. So again, to break a 3-hour marathon, it's a combination of training at, near, or far below your goal race pace and really focusing on that recovery period. So I hope you all have a great week. Leave me a comment below this video if you have any other questions or concerns. If you're brand new to the channel, hit that bell icon and the subscribe button so when I make a new video, you'll be notified. And if there's anything else I can do for you guys and gals, definitely leave me a comment below. I'll reach out to you. I always respond to my people that comment on the videos. I love hearing from you all. I wish you all the best, and definitely continue to visualize success and get yourself under this 3-hour barrier this year or in the future. But keep me in the loop, keep me updated on your training, and I'll do all I can to get you under the 3-hour barrier. So I wish you all the best, and I'll talk to you all in the next